In today's video, I want to share what life has been like living in a bus. We have finally had a chance to really slow down, and with the sun finally peeking out, we've had more opportunities to go for walks, enjoy cooking our favourite meals, and making improvements to our systems and practices to ensure that we are being sustainable while living on the road. The fog has finally cleared and the sun's starting to appear, so I'm taking advantage of the sun while it's here to not only warm up the house but also to hang my washing and hopefully it'll dry. It's been really hard to dry things over winter time in Victoria. It just gets so cold and the air is so moist that it takes forever for all of our things to become dry, but we keep trying. There are certain jobs that we do that leave the space around us so messy. So I'm just gonna go around and pick up all the trash, burn whatever I can, and kind of light a fire and just sit outside for a bit. It's such a beautiful morning. I can hear the birds singing and things are still a little bit wet, so it'll be nice to actually warm things up as well as dry the chair that I left out in the rain yesterday and just enjoy some time being outside. I haven't just sat down and meditated and breathed in such a long time that I'm just really looking forward to getting back into it. The coolest thing about this property is that it's got the state forest on its doorstep. Go ahead. Let's go for a walk. So at the moment it's a little bit too wet to start a fire because literally everything I pick up is just saturated. I'm going to take the dogs out for a walk and I've just made myself a green smoothie for the walk. This is one Sam and I used to make all the time. It has lemon, ginger, spinach, cucumber, banana, apple, yogurt and water, and it's so refreshing and delicious. I highly recommend it. I love walking through the forest at this time of the year. There's less hustle and bustle from humans as they are hidden in their homes warmed by fireplaces which I can smell from a distance. The birds are free to sing and play in the trees and the dogs and I can walk peacefully without harassment from flies or severe heat. It's been a peaceful ritual to get back into now that we're living full time on the bus and building less. Any opportunity to swim. I could honestly sit here forever. The sun feels so lovely on my skin. Hearing the dogs playing and the little frogs in the swamp. It's so peaceful. I really miss doing this. I reckon I'm definitely going to try get back into the habit of doing my weekly meditations, whether it's daily or every few days. It's just such a great way to slow down, appreciate what you have around. I was thinking of 3 things that I'm grateful for right now in this moment. And the first one is having the support of friends and family nearby. The second is finding hobbies that suit me, finding hobbies that make me happy, that fulfill me, that fill my days without straining my brain. They're actually really helpful for it. And the third is my health. I'm so conscious of what goes into my body and onto my skin, but now more than ever, Sam and I are at a point where we're making sure that our life is filled with as much health and happiness as we can, and I'm just so grateful for the body that I have, for my immune system, for my peace of mind. Alright, we're gonna make the walk back home and probably have lunch going soon. Maybe see if we can start that fire, see if things are dry enough.
Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've been in the kitchen. Usually this is Diane's domain. I spend a lot of time in here off camera. But today I'm going to be doing my curry base, which is a pretty simple base that makes it just super easy to whip up a curry whenever we want. You just need to add flavoring and meat and you're done. It saves us a lot of time. So there's no real hard and fast recipe for this. It is really just a blend of vegetables and nutrients so that all of your veggies are in the sauce, and then you get that classic Indian curry kind of outdoor restaurant experience. So I'm essentially investing all the work in right now. But the more fiber, the more nutrients you can put in, the better. As I said before, this recipe is just an excuse to get fiber and nutrients into our diet, so I'm not really too worried about what goes into it. I just want to make sure that it's packed full of nutrients. So I did find a leek in the fridge that Diane said I could use, and right now I'm just cooking down all of the oniony, garlicky, gingery ingredients until they sweat down into a translucent kind of form. I usually don't put in cardamom, and I'm definitely husking these and getting rid of this because this is gross and chewy and will destroy your palate halfway through the meal. But cardamom's usually a flavor ingredient I add to the curry I'm choosing to do instead of this base, but I mean a little bit won't hurt. Everything here I'm going to be doing in tablespoon amounts. I always like to do probably double the coriander to cumin though. Coriander has like a neutral kind of, it's really earthy, whereas cumin can really throw it in a very particular direction. Garam masala, you really can't go. Masala just means curry, and garam masala is generally a different recipe depending on who you talk to. It's kind of like the home cook's curry mix. I love smoked paprika, so I'm going double smoked paprika. Probably just sprinkle some cloves in because this is very powerful, and it's already in the garam masala. Once the ingredients of the onion family, your garlic, your onions, your leeks are all cooked down, that's when I'm going to add my flavoring in. Then after that, I'll add the fresh vegetables.
Oh my god, I don't know if I was recording.
Alright, so we had a mishap with the camera. Essentially, I just added a little bit of water to make sure that nothing burned, and then I just added the ingredients one by one, plus a can of tomatoes. So it's really up to you what you want to add. Ooh. I'm going to need something better to mix this around. But I'm going to pop a lid on this. This will all simmer down. And then I'll be able to mix it much better. So I'm just going to salt it now too.
So So for the last few weeks, we've had a lot of jobs kind of building up, little things that needed to get done to improve our quality of life. But because all of our focus has been on like the mechanical side of the bus and the roadworthy, the registration, the engineering, and all of that, we haven't really had time to get to it. So this week I'm kind of dedicating time here and there to just doing a few little things that are going to make a huge difference to quality of life, but also things staying in place. So one of those things that I've already done and I'm continuing to do is I'm adding some Velcro to like our baskets so that we can take them off and be able to just put it back nice and easily as well. The other thing I'm going to put Velcro on is our map of Australia that has fallen down way too long ago, and so tape and everything else has failed, so the Velcro is probably going to be the strongest thing to stick it up there. I'm sure eventually we'll put it up on the ceiling, so I don't want to make that permanent, but that's less likely to move than the things behind me. I made the switch to bamboo wipes a year ago and I love these. We have only used a few and have been re-washing them, and once they get too worn out we can chuck them in the compost pile or into a normal bin and they'll break down. I've been trying to get back in the habit of re-rolling our bamboo paper towel once I've washed them. They're great for spills, and any way you would use traditional paper towel, this is definitely one sustainable swap that I'm loving the durability of. One of the other switches we're making is adding coconut coir to our compost toilet to help reduce smells and to make storing it in bulk easier. Since a bag of wood shavings takes up so much space, having a little brick stored away is a lot more convenient. It has been about a month or so since we started using the composting toilet on our bus, and since then we have used up all of the wood shavings that we saved up from building the bus, so now it's time to add something new to the system. I'm going to use these coconut coir bricks, which a lot of people use in their composting systems, and if you don't know what coconut coir is, it's essentially just the shell of a coconut shredded up into these tiny pieces, and it's really good at absorbing water, so this is going to be the perfect solution for the back of our compost toilet. Now all I need to do is add 8 litres of water slowly, let it soak for 8 minutes, break it apart, and then hopefully it should be ready and good to go for our system, and we'll let you know how it goes when it's done. Now we let it sit for 8 minutes. I love that it's 8 and 8. Nothing to think about more than the number 8. I'm gonna go eat 8 cookies perhaps while I wait, and then we'll come back to this when it's done. Wow, it's like soaking it in now. Have a look. The packet says if it's too wet, like all the excess water, just tip it into your garden. I'm going to actually add a second half of our coconut coir brick because I feel like we can just hydrate more and then have a bigger quantity of it, especially because there's not that much water left in there, and I think it will just allow it to be a little more dry and ready for our toilet. That second brick did this job.
So you don't really need to worry about like balancing salt or anything like that. Just kind of whatever you've got, just throw it in there. And I'm going to blend this up now that it's all broken down pretty well. And then I'll reduce it so there's not as much water in there. I can store more of it in the freezer. And then we'll use some for dinner. For dinner, I grab a cast iron pot and I put any oil in the bottom of it. Ghee or lard if you're feeling naughty, a vegetable oil if you'd prefer that. I roast some spices that I like until they're aromatic. and then I add my meat. This can be any type of protein or even a hearty mushroom if you're a vegetarian. I then add whatever base flavor I want. This is generally coconut, tomato, spinach puree, cream or yogurt, or maybe even an eggplant. Next, I add some water or I add broth and I bring it up to temperature. Since I'm using osso buco with this recipe, I'll be slow cooking this, and I recommend slow cooking with a tough red meat like a lamb or mutton. With chicken, this dish is ready in the time it takes to cook the chicken. You can whip this up in 20 minutes. Next, I add the curry base, usually 1 container per 2 people. Sometimes I cut these in half once they're frozen, and then I can make 2 curries for 2 people with 2 different bases and different proteins. It really allows you to work to your cravings and your imagination.
As we embrace our new normal, living off-grid and in our tiny space, we're falling more and more in love with our kitchen. There's enough space for everything we use regularly to bring our favourite dishes to life, and the whole space has been designed by us in a way that makes sense for how we cook and how we use the space. This week I have been experimenting with alternatives to some of our favourites. Like right now, I'm adding some Greek-inspired spices to our slow cooks, and every time I smell this dish, it just brings me back to our beautiful honeymoon in Greece. I have also been trying to pack extra nutrients into some of our other favourite things, like adding spinach to my tortilla recipe, which came out delicious and the colour looked stunning.
Oh yeah. We'll see how they taste, but they look bloody beautiful. The little speckles of spinach, man. How did I not make this earlier?
Sam and I both love vegetables playing a big role in our meals, from adding colour to texture and flavour, so it's been fun to see just how far we can stretch these. Literally the only reason I got a fire started is so I could have s'mores. Been craving them.